On the broadcast with me, we have Major Mohammad Ali Shah has been holding the fort with us since early this morning, and we also have Major General A.K. Siva joining us on the broadcast. Now, let me get Major Shah into the Major Shah. For people watching this broadcast, let's delve into another area. Let's talk about the NCOs particularly for a bit. Now, which form the large bulk of the fighting force. You would have had around you, as you mentioned earlier this in the morning, your NCOs would have been your go-to people for everything, right? So tell us a bit about them. Let's go through the ranking structure again. How does it pan out from Sepoy to Subedar Major, and explain to us how they form the bulk of the fighting force.
Rishabh, thank you very much for also giving importance to the NCOs. They are the backbone. They are the ones because of who the officer can stand tall. And now coming to the NCOs, let me tell you, there is this credo, this oath we take in the army, which says the safety, honor, welfare of your country come first, always and every time. The honor, welfare and comfort of the men you command comes next. Your own ease, comfort and safety comes last, always and every time. Again, there's something which, again, General Bipin Rawat and Lieutenant General Rajiv Shah, both Joshi 3 Corps would say, which was, know your men better than their own mothers and care for them even more. So our NCOs always ensured that we were always taking care of our Jawans, of our JCOs, of our junior commissioned officers, of our non-commissioned officers, and they in turn always protected us. Whenever we used to be in counterinsurgency.
Okay, I was just having an edit meeting with one of my colleagues was telling me, relating a story which I understand. So let's help our viewers understand it as well. So when you're going through officer school, you would have, of course, captains and majors and lieutenant colonel level officers who will be your instructors. I'm assuming, Major, you would have also had NCOs there who would be guiding you, instructing you, and I know the British equivalent is Sergeant Major, so here it would be Subedar Major, and who will be drill instructors, and immediately upon graduation, as you become a lieutenant, then they salute you.
Absolutely. You know, Rishabh, when we were in academy, our instructors were the NCOs, the Havaldars, and the Sergeant Major, Havaldar Major. Subedar Major would be too senior.
Okay.
Subedar Major would be equivalent to the rank of a Lieutenant General, equivalent to an officer. Subedar Major is that ultimate rank for someone who gets recruited as a Jawan. So now these are ustads. We used to call them ustads. CHM, Company Havaldar Major. They used to wear a band, a patta, an ashok on their black band over here. And they would always give a ragda. The moment we would see them in academy, a person wearing a red stripe, he's a drill ustad. A person wearing red socks is a PT ustad. A person wearing red shoulders, tabs is the weapon training ustad. So we had different ustads. And these ustads used to be like jalars, we would call them. They would make a bhoot out of us. But when we were commissioned as officers, these ustads were nowhere to be seen, and as per the, again, unwritten rule, they are not there because now the same guys who they gave ragda, the same cadet, GC Shah, is now Lieutenant Shah. So usko salute parna padega. So that is not really, we don't really, but in service, if you come into contact, they will salute us, Jain Saab, and we'll Saab, and then we'll hug each other. You know, one day, I will give this personal example, Rishabh, very good idea, in fact. You know, in the year 2003, in the month of October, November, before the ceasefire, we were in Samba, near Jammu, at the international border. But there was a firing competition at the ranges. So I went to the range, and next to me, I see a very familiar face. And he looks at me, and we both look at each other. Arey Saab, aap! Arey Lieutenant Ali Saab, aap! And we hugged each other. And he said, Saab, aaj dekh lena Saab. Aaj to jeet meri hi hoegi. I said, Saab, aise kaise keh sakte ho aap, Saab? Ab main wo cadet nahi hu, ab main officer ban chuka hu. Haan Saab, phir bhi jeet meri hoegi. Saab, wo kaise? साहब देखिए, अगर मैं जीता तो मैं जीता, अगर आप जीते तो भी मैं जीता, तो भी जीत मेरी होगी. I said, हाँ साहब, बात तो बिल्कुल सही है आपकी. So these ustads, the NCOs, they are like section commanders, the Havaldars. So when supposing a young lieutenant comes in and he is looking after a platoon, say a platoon of 10 or 12 guys, like, we mentioned about Colonel Vijay Thapar's son, in fact, Captain Vijay Thapar, legend, Veer Chakra, posthumous. He led a platoon of 12 guys at the final assault at the enemy in Kargil, where he wrote that letter. So he had a JCO with him, he had a mission commander, he had a Havaldar. So Havaldar, and when we had commissioned as officers, Rishabh, for about 3 months, we lived in the barracks with our men, with our Jawans. we live in a line, use the same washroom that they are using, have the same food in the langar. We are not allowed to enter the officer's mess. We do not get the privileges which an officer gets normally. So we understand the grassroots level, what a Jawan actually goes through, his problems, his needs. We bond with the men, and the affection, the love of the troops, you can only get in the army.
Okay.
So now, when an NCO leads a section, I was, I'll be very, very honest. I got a GOC commendation card for service, for military service, so to say. But let me tell you, Rishabh, honestly speaking, actually, the good work was done by my JCO, by my NCO, by my men, by my Jawans. And because they did the good work, I happened to be the officer leading them. That's about it. I didn't do anything exceptional.
Okay, it's good of you to say so, obviously. Major Shah, I think we have the former Vice Chief also with us, General Qadian, joining us. General Qadian, thanks for your time. I'm just coming to you in a second. Major Shah, just jump into the life and work of General Rawat as CDS, because he was defining the role of the post as we speak, okay? And there's one other thing I wanted to discuss in this, because we talk about the integrated theatre command in this entire. There's a conceptualization, of course, of the modern nature of warfare, which has changed, right? You have to now think of misinformation, disinformation. You have to think of drones and satellites and missiles and BrahMos and cyber. In this evolution of non-kinetic warfare, what is the role that a CDS or a General Rawat was defining that you best understand?
Also, people ask why a 4-star general only, and why such things. Most certainly because he has seniority, he has experience, and people who would say, it could have been a. So no, it certainly he had required experience, and he was the best man to integrate, in the sense that it's not necessarily it has to be General Rawat only. He, of course, was an exemplary CDS. But now the person who would take over the next CDS also, his responsibility is going to be integrate the theatrization of the command and to make sure that we are well equipped, that India is overall ready. And because when we integrate the three command, the three theatre command, it really goes a long way in any warfare, Rishabh. So most certainly, that is why we could have had a field marshal for that matter, but we, as of today, apart from Field Marshal Karyappa and Manekshaw, we've never had any field marshal. Air Marshal Baba was the Air Chief Marshal of the Air Force. But apart from that, and a Field Marshal also is a ceremonial appointment, you have to see. He gets a secretariat, all right, he gets the perks.
Yeah, but it's a ceremonial appointment, yes.
Ceremonial. But now a CDS he is very, very powerful. And so certainly, I see a lot of sense in the fact that when a CDS appointment comes in fact, we had congratulated him when he had taken over as a CDS, because he is actually going to be the man responsible at the end of the day. They say the chief of the army staff, navy staff, and naval staff, and the air force chiefs, their powers get slightly curbed. Okay, it might happen, fine. But then you have the larger picture is that you have from a 4-star general, it's like, okay, I'll quote it to a small example of peacetime. In the Armed Forces Tribunal, the military high court, where they were imparting justice to military personnel, we have a judicial member who has been an ex-high court judge, and there is an administrative member. The administrative member is not a judicial member. He is the rank of a lieutenant general, a 3-star general always, either an army commander or the former deputy chief of the army staff. My father, in fact, he was in the Armed Forces Tribunal after he retired as a deputy chief. Now, why only a lieutenant general? Why not a major general? Or why not anybody from Jack Brand? The same question you can ask. The question is because nothing beats experience at the end of the day. And ultimately it is common sense imparting.
Yeah, okay, all right. So let me just.
A lot of people ask these generals, like General Dillon, that it's imparting justice is again common sense.
Okay. So what are we understanding of the role of the CDS as was now being worked out in the past, just over 2-3 years? Because what I've told my team right now is that, look, who is going to become the next CDS? Let's put that aside for some other day. Okay. Today, in a day of grief, let this be about the work and life of General Rawat, and in the past 2-3 years, this was his work and life. So what have we understood that the CDS does? What is his, because General Rawat has, along with the Army Chief and the Air Force Chief, he's now become another person who also now travels abroad to hold strategic conversations and discussions. So we know that's a part of the role now. We know a part of the role is modernization. A part of the role is grand scale special operations, okay, when we have to do a massive airlift of civilians and we need to coordinate between army, air force, civilian, all these kind of things. So what are we understanding of the role of the CDS, Major Shah?
So the CDS is basically, cutting a long story short, he's basically responsible, he's a bridge, he's a link between the Indian Defence Forces, the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the bureaucrats and the politicians, to put in very, very simple words. And again, without getting into too much of technicality that everyone understands.
Okay.
Who's not even from a defense background, for them, I would tell them, he's the bridge, he's a link. It's as simple as that. And the moment you see a uniformed person over there, we had defense secretary earlier. Yes.
Okay, all right.